One of the things we need to do on this Pinto is come up with some door panels. Didn't have any, and I would probably guess that most original Pinto door panels have seen better days, and the ones that haven't are probably outside of our budget. So we're going to make some new ones, and you can make them out of various materials. You could make some aluminum ones, put them through the bead roller to make them fancy. You could make some out of diamond plate if you wanted aluminum. What we're going to do is get some ABS plastic sheets and make a panel out of that. And the thing with those are, if we want to really get creative, we could always upholster them later on. They make a good waterproof backer. So we'll get started on this project in just a minute. And we'll get started by getting a big piece of contractor paper, big enough to cover the whole door. And then we've got these spiffy magnets. You can get them at Harbor Freight or a bunch of places. They're just, good for hobbies and stuff like that. And we're going to hold the paper in place on the door with the magnets. There's a flat area here, and then the paper rolls under. And what we're going to do is, when we get our magnets in this spot, then we'll put some down here, and then we'll be able to go along here and mark this edge and use it later on to cut our paper down to size. So we're going to go ahead and stick these magnets around. So what you want to do, of course, is make sure that your paper is pulled tight, if you can get all the wrinkles out of it. And then we've placed these magnets along here. We've got a couple different kinds here. The good news with this car is these interior panels kind of run off the end, but on some you might have a place in here where they fit. I have to look at that again. Over here there's probably an edge that we should work to, and the thing is, once we get our panel cut down to size, if it's run long here, then we'd be able to trim it. Same thing in the front here. The big thing is down in these areas down here, and we just take our finger and run along there and make that mark. And then I'll probably get a Sharpie and run along there and duplicate that mark. Now the other thing we want to find is our window opening. We'll just run our finger over that, and same with our door handle opening. We'll run our finger over that. Sometimes if your finger's dirty, it'll leave a mark and help you there. And we'll have to put a little hole in the paper right there. But what we'll do now is we'll mark that those two straight lines at least with the Sharpie, and then we'll be able to make those two straight cuts with the two holes and fit that paper panel in there a little better, and then do our final sort of adjustments on the ends. Now what you want to do is cut this. You're going to cut this paper a little on the large side outside your line, because you want to be able to fit your ABS panel in there, and it's a lot easier to finish the edge of the ABS panel a little bit if you have to, rather than cut out a new one because you made it too small. So we'll get a Sharpie and do that markup. So there you can see we've taken our Sharpie and made a line in there. Same thing at the top. And we'll go ahead and take that panel off and get our scissors and cut it out. All right, we got our pattern cut down to size. Got our latches and window winders poked through. And we're going to trim this rear. So what we're going to do here, we're going to try to keep our paper nice and tight with some magnets. And then I just have this lump of stuff that was laying around that's dirty. And what we can do is take it and run it down this edge. We can move those magnets back and create a mark on there that we'll be able to use as a cut line. And that'll go all the way to the bottom. So that's going to be our rear cut line. We can do the same thing in the front. It's a little tight up there, but we'll find something that's a little dirty and run it down the leading edge of the door there, and then we'll end up with our front cut. Okay, so there you have a paper pattern for the inside of the door panel. You know, it may take, you know, round the corner a little bit, round the corner down here a little bit. May take a little trimming here and there, but now you're close enough to take this paper pattern and transfer it to whatever material you're going to use to make your door panel out of. And we'll show you what we're going to use here in a minute. So what we're going to use is this ABS plastic. It's textured on one side, smooth on the other. And for this project, we're going to need a piece that's about 4 feet long and probably 4 by 2 probably. And I think you can get this from Amazon. So there you have it. The good news is it's just construction paper. Comes in a big roll. If you screw up, you can start all over. No mas, no fuss. But just one way to go ahead and make yourself some interior panels, some cheap interior panels. Like I said, with the ABS, you can cover them with some upholstery if you want. Glue it on. And probably what we'll do here, this door is drilled for interior clips. We'll probably just take some trim screws and screw these ABS panels to the door for the time being. Trying to use the trim clip holes is a whole nother ball of wax. And you can do that if you can figure out how to transfer the holes to the paper here, to your pattern. But that's a lot more complicated than what we're going to do today. Well, it's t-shirt weather finally. So we're outside today. Basically because it's impossible to have a flat level surface anywhere in the shop without having crap piled on it. So doesn't matter how many tables you get, how many you build, how many carts you get, you can't keep them empty. So we got our sheet of ABS. I think it's 1/8 inch, textured on this side, smooth on the other side, and I think this is a 2x4 sheet. And we're going to go and get our paper template for our door panel and put on here and trace around it. Well, we got our paper template, and we marked out where it's out so we remember. And this is really pretty straightforward here. We've got a couple of straight edges, so we're going to use the bottom of the panel to meet up with the bottom of the pattern. The tail piece here is just a little off. We can trim that. So then we'll have to draw a line down there and around the front and cut it out. We'll probably use a gold or silver Sharpie on this so it shows up. we've had to use our wood magnets for this because the metal magnets don't stick too well to the plastic. We have our outline there. Silver seems to work the best. And now we just have to figure out what to cut it with. We've marked our 2 spots where our holes for our door handle and window regulator are going to be. We'll get some kind of a jigsaw or saber saw or something and cut this puppy out. Okay then, we've trimmed our piece down. Looked in our inventory of miscellaneous stuff, found this brand new skill saw. We bought it at auction for $1.280 and gave it a try. Worked pretty good. We've got to clean up the edges a little bit, and then we've got to drill our 2 holes for our levers and handles. One of the things that I would suggest, now here we have the textured part out, which is what we want. The smooth side is on the other side, and if you're going to upholster this, you want the smooth side in so you can wrap your material around and glue it to the smooth side. And if you were going to upholster, you'd put some padding on this side, glue it down, and then wrap it. We're not, so this textured finish is going to be our outside. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, we used this edge here as one of the straight edges. When I make the other side, I would make this the top rather than the bottom, simply because your cut is going to be a little ragged, possibly, and better to have the ragged side at the bottom than at the top. Now we'll go ahead and get our block sander and sand that nice and smooth, and it'll probably be fine. But there we go. We'll drill these 2 holes in there with I think we've got a little small hole saw, and we'll see how it fits. Okay, we got our piece set in place there. Magnets don't work too well here because the plastic is thick enough that it's not like the paper. But we've got our holes there for, I believe that's the door handle, and then over there is the window crank. So that's our sort of reference points, and we've got our panel kind of fitted in there. Now it's going to take some finishing on the edge there to get it to tuck in real nice. There's a relief rolled under there, and we really, right now we're a little fat there, so, and we're a little wide at the back, which is easy enough to trim. But this is where you start. You get it into place and get it fitted all the way around, because we started with a nice straight edge on the bottom. That's our good reference point there. One good idea is to figure out where you're going to put it. In other words, you have your reference points for your mechanisms, and go ahead and drill a hole, let's say up in that corner, and then maybe in this corner back here, and put a couple of screws in there. And then every time that you work on it, you can use those 2 holes and screws to put it back in the same place every time, so that you're not fitting to a new spot every time you put the thing on there. But that's going to make a nice finished surface in there for not a lot of money. I mean, a sheet of paper, and I think 2 pieces of that plastic were $75, somewhere around there. And you know, that for this particular project, that's going to make a nice door panel. If you wanted to take yourself to the upholstery shop and get some vinyl and some foam pad, you could upholster that panel, and even if you really wanted to get trick, you could put some seams and things in the vinyl, or some trim, some chrome trim maybe that would poke through and then have little tabs that bend over on the back. There's any number of things you can do, but the good news is this ABS, if it does get wet, it's not going to fall apart like the old cardboard stuff did. So we got to make one for the other side now.